Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Trine 2. So, let's see. The setup of the last level was fairly long and didn't have a big boss fight at the end, but teased a dragon boss fight that's potentially, I suspect, going to be this entire level. So, what I'm expecting is that we're going to have multiple phases and multiple platforming sections as we fight the dragon. It would be a little disappointing if it was just a boss fight where we had to defeat the dragon. The visuals look amazing, certainly. And
Finally, a worthy adversary.
Why isn't it attacking?
well, maybe it's not actually an enemy. Like, so you got our health bar here, and we've got this. Let's see if we could possibly grab something. Like, you've got glowing orbs. I could even see, like, now the glowing plants and the glowing orbs kind of make some sense, but in most of the game they just really don't.
What? Where did it go?
It was an illusion, Pontius. It wasn't real. It just looked like a dragon.
Some guard dog.
It looked frighteningly accurate. I hope we never run into whoever it was imitating.
Interesting. So you get a tease of a dragon, and I guess my suspicion is if I had shot an arrow through it, same thing would have happened. Or if I tried to like swing at it or throw the hammer axe at it, like same thing probably would have happened there too. So that's an interesting, I guess, beginning of a tease of something else, like a dragon fight at some point in the future, maybe at the end of the game, or maybe just at the end of this level. The fact that these levels are kind of designed in a way to be played separately if you so chose would make me think we're gonna fight the dragon at the end of this level, not later. See, this is back to the problem I think with the visuals mostly, is you have these glowing purple orbs that are perhaps just playing with their programming technology a little too much and having them having visual show off things happen that don't really need to happen. Okay. I'm a little confused as far as to the spike ball. Like, yes, we can get that swinging more, but I can't grapple that. So, unless it were a case that I could stab that and then do that, which I guess is the case. Well, how are we gonna do this? Let's correct mistake one by pulling this off and then putting it at the bottom. And then let's just see if this can get us high enough to get to that. In all reality though, probably could just do this, and then this, And you know what? Why not just do this? And then do this. Wow. That was terrible. That was just absolutely terrible. Come on. That was, I guess, the easiest way to do that. And there is perhaps some argument to taking a wooden box with you, which has slightly more value than your generated boxes. And then we have another vehicle gimmick element here, with the difference I think this time being I need to actually be under it while it rolls. Then I need to move a little bit more. And then move a little bit more. I'm having a hard time remembering the controls. It does seem like it wants to stay in that position. Okay, well. Put that on that. Stand on that one. Press that one. Let's 3 buttons down. And I would hope that there's no XP we missed there. And that definitely felt like a puzzle that literally could have only been solved by...
Oh no, it's making monsters now.
Yep. Okay. Am I supposed to make more monsters? So now we've got another character we're fighting, but notice how that third one didn't give me any XP, and that one didn't give me any XP. So are we supposed to just let it make monsters and follow us, or is there a more permanent solution to this? What if I just did that? Yeah. That seems like that's the move, is to do that. Okay. Wooden boxes and more height. Which... There's definitely something to this where the creating of boxes here is fairly redundant and seems just a little unnecessary. If we had an ability to just make a ladder half the time, we would just choose to make a ladder instead. Let's see, if I take this wooden box and I stab it like up there, that might be the move on that one. There's no music playing in this level. It's trying to, I imagine, be a little bit spookier. So either that or I turn down the audio so much that now there's a very subtle music sound being played, which I don't think that's really the case. I think we probably are just having no music play. That opens the door. But now the move is certainly going to be, can I get to that collectible? And it doesn't seem like there's going to be an easy way to do that. It's just going to be getting a little bit of height, and then for safety's sake, getting a little bit more height. And just pushing all the way forward, and hoping that there aren't any other collectibles that I missed. Seems like you can be in a realm of safety here. And the realm of safety here. And then we can see that there's something down here, and so we're gonna have to figure out a way how to get to that area. Playing as our shield guy and emphasizing the shield could be helpful too. What does this button do? I guess you could have kind of swung too, but you still would end up hurting yourself. Now we're seeing potential booby traps happen. This makes me wonder if that stops the booby traps from happening. Whoops. Okay, I see what I have to do. We're going to have to wait for the fire to go away, make a square, swap to this, and swing to reach all of that. And wait for this to pass to make that to be able to swing further out. And as far as these rolling orbs go, I don't think they are much of anything. They didn't completely forget about the idea of spiders, so we're bringing those back. I guess the question here is, can I make... Okay. So I gotta figure out how to get this in an area small enough so I can get it short enough to bring it over here. There's nothing else here. And then I'm a little confused as to what this does, so we should probably figure that out. Let's go into the settings and just turn up the audio on the music. I was thinking it probably wouldn't hurt to do that anyways. Okay. So this either moves it upwards or downwards. Which, my assumption here is that I'm supposed to do something like this. Yeah. And then we're just using the bubbles. And almost certainly that was a case where the spider was supposed to shoot an acid shot to break the bubble and antagonize you. We can see how a little bit more health removal would be very helpful. Or to say that more real normally, if there was just more damage happening per arrow shots, it would be very useful. But I do definitely question whether, even at the highest level of at the highest level of upgrades, I'm questioning whether that really would do one-hit kills, which is what you always are looking for. And honestly, I don't get it enough in video games. Far too often, you'll hit an RPG game where the enemy's health is just balanced to whatever level you are at. So at best, it'll give you a little bit of wiggle room so that you can be 2, maybe 3 levels above the enemies, but that's about it. Whereas I would love to be incredibly overpowered if I grind out a game and get all the collectibles. And it just doesn't seem like that's the case. Like, if I got a cost of 2 and started doing fire arrows, I would then lose on frost arrows, and unless I'm going to shoot fire and frost arrows at the same time, and it's still in the info doesn't really break down how much damage you take. It says a partially drawn arrow deals less damage, but the fire arrow itself does additional damage. So if you just want additional damage, you start with the fire arrows, because the frost arrows, freezing arrows don't actually do additional damage. So yeah, either I save up for 2 points here, or try to get to the kite sail shield where you could just fly all around, assuming that that is it. That is actually as helpful as it sounds, which it probably isn't. And then I just really don't know a real reason for the stealth, if it feels like that is an additional ability that seems kind of pointless. We can see some more collectibles up in this section. I assume this is a bit of a reset. Okay. We'll go ahead and come over here and collect this. And see, we've got these thorny walls, but they're not gonna hurt you.
My sister is so clever, her wit like a spark, but I worry for her as her mood gets dark.
There's no guarantee that these poems are from the same time or even the same person. So I don't know if there's really too much to take from all of that. Okay. So on this, there's a couple different ways you could do this. One would be to carefully try and stack a box on top of that small box. And then stand on this, and there goes all of our boxes. Other would be to try and jump. With all these boxes here, it's probably easiest just to destroy them. What you can't do here, though, is make a full plank that's like twice as long. And you can't really balance a plank, I think, on that spinning platform. You can't just stand on the side of the platform. So we're kind of getting increasing options as to things that won't work. Go ahead and take this with us. Drop it down there. First one gives us XP in that fight. Second one gives us XP. Third one gives us XP. Fourth one, fifth one doesn't give us XP. They don't quite match, but that clears that area. So further down we go. You can definitely see how these crawling lizards are designed to chase after you and be this threat. This perhaps too much of a distraction for their own good. Because here I'm going to have to do that, and then that finally stops them from doing anything. That caps down to an extra section here. Okay. So I think this mostly is just make a box, jump here, jump here. Let's bring this over here. I feel like there's another one over here too that could be useful. And honestly, if you can pluck it just right, you could grab that. And you'd think like the green light here in the foreground might indicate you can't take things this direction. Oh. So all that stuff is actually not useful. These are broken pipes. They don't have attachment points. Okay. Well, it was a good try. Let's see. You can't grab this. Will that destroy it? No. Interesting. So, I guess it depends on how much the fire touches these cubes. Like that one's a little too close, apparently. But that one isn't. And I guess the lever and all of that was necessary. Because that seems like that did actually like require something more. Go ahead and attach that one and take that one with us. Now this does highlight a real problem in that there could easily be puzzles in later levels that are super difficult because you're dragging items all around, or there just could be levels where you are likely to get confused and end up grabbing something. I guess we don't need this either. Yeah, so there's just a whole bunch of pipes all over the place. And maybe by making the levels as big as they did, because we are still here as far as all of that goes, and that is just crazy in itself. I'd basically have to make a cube and drag it around just to make sure there wasn't some new platform. And yeah, if there was something over here, I must have already gotten it. And there's just a lot of stuff to then be brought into this new area. And so you would kind of think that perhaps this would be a good point to make sure you can't drag items with you. Let's just experiment. Can you drag this past the glowing orb? Yes, you can. Can you drag this all the way into the next area? Yes, you can. So, if that is the case, why wouldn't there be a point where there's some super difficult collectible that would synergize around that? Okay. You stand on this, this opens up a lever that we jump down, and that's probably the end of this environment. Otherwise, you would think this would be like Portal, where you would be gaining height by every little jump. But it isn't like that. And I'd almost have to assume that this game came out far later than Portal 1 did, so that idea of gaining height by the jump, by gravity adding each time you jump. Did I get everything? Again, you'd have to basically just drag a cube around. Down we go. Now we have another book.
Thank you for the locket, Rosie. What fun we had. Let's do that again next year. Happy birthday, darling. I love you, Isabel.
This place is littered with letters between these women. I don't think we're looking for flowers anymore.
Odd they're not mentioning the picture behind them. And yeah, with that letter, my theory probably has changed a little bit here. I suspect what's going to happen is And this is in part because I've noticed that the 6th character on the main menu is actually the Trine, so there isn't seemingly 3 characters of a different group of Trine characters to think about. But what I suspected would happen has happened is one of the sisters betrays the other sister and turns evil, because we're getting very lovey-dovey letters here. Or it may be more of a case that one of the sisters gets controlled by an evil spirit or something. And I kind of question if we haven't kind of hit a point where maybe they've run out of a lot of ideas for portals. I imagine we will see I don't know how to get up here. To me, I guess you have to probably jump to the left, hit this, hit this, hit this, hit this, hit that. Yeah. I imagine we will see some portal usage. But I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen the bulk of it at this level. I still don't really understand these switches, because it feels like you control it and then moving to the left on the right stick moves the lever to the left, and moving to the right moves the lever to the right. But if you go up or down, it doesn't really do anything. And so then the lever really just seems like it's in its own little spot, wherever it wants to be. I don't understand that section. Seems like that's an arbitrary spot.
That button must open the gate.
There's still just a ton of background stuff. Okay. So we hit the button and the gate opens for a decent amount of time. Okay. And with our fourth thing being able to conjure, the puzzle is fairly easy. Not 100% easy, but seems like you can't actually walk through the gate until I hope I got all the experience orbs in there. Like, I really have to question whether I'd want to bother to go back and collect any remaining experience orbs. It would have to be at least a fourth of the levels at most had experience orbs I missed. But if I've missed half of them, or missed some orb on half of the levels, then that's just going to be too much work. I don't know if this is an infinite spawning spider area, or if that just happened to be a lot of spiders. You have a nice shiny floor down here, which might have felt like it implied something, but I don't think it really does. It does feel weird, certainly, to... Let's go ahead and make a cube there. Go ahead and stick that up there, and go ahead and give this as much momentum as possible. And we made it. That felt a little wonky. What is this floating platform thing all about, though? That feels new. It's a magical platform. Can I move magical platforms? No. Can I get things spinning crazy? Yes. Can I put something like that down there to get up here? Yes. Another chest. Collectible artwork. Interesting. Giant troll creature. Maybe an illusion again. I guess at some level it might be nice if there was a way to just have like a favorite character, but really what there should be is a dedicated button to get to each character. With only 3 characters, I guess theoretically if I hit the left bump and the right bump, I can get to any of the other 2 characters. But I would say it doesn't really feel like that's particularly the most elegant solution. It would feel more logical if it was just X, Y, B, and Y always brought the archer back, B always brought the armor guy back, and X always brought the magician back. Then it would just be A to jump, and then right now X, Y, B is not doing anything with this character. Y swaps weapons with this character, but you could have weapon swap just be right bump at that point, and then with this character XYB does nothing. So yeah, while other games do often center around swapping between weapons or characters using the right and left bump, here it just doesn't quite make as much sense. There must have been a switch back here that I just totally missed. Yep. With the introduction of floating platforms, it eliminates some of the visual noise in levels. I don't think it really changes too much otherwise. They're wooden, so you can swing on them. So theoretically I could have probably avoided doing this whole swing gear puzzle if I wanted to. they are kind of great about making levels like that, where there's a lot of different ways in which you can play with the physics and potentially reach your goal. Notice how they put the refill of your health option. So you get one of these, you can put it there. Get one of these, you can put it there. Get one of these, you could put it there. Missed that one. Get one of these, put it there. Try that again. If you had only one cube, this would totally be the only way you could really solve this puzzle, but even at that, this isn't the solution to the puzzle, is it? Because if you had only one cube, you couldn't make a plank. So you either have a overly complicated solution like this, which isn't really working, or you just do this, I guess. I guess that would work. Wow. Weirdly, I think that was really the solution there, was to put a box on the side and then grapple on the side to collect your resources. I think we're gonna have to just spend, next time we level up, 2 points on this. Makes too much sense. Okay. Meanwhile, we still want to collect this, and so we're in a unique spot where I've got to figure out how to potentially put a box down on a swinging platform to get enough height to do that. And we are just now in a terrible position. Am I supposed to, like, what am I supposed to do with that? Yeah. I think that may have been a very good example of where there isn't really always a solution for every single character. I can't see the swing here. Like here. How am I supposed to get back over? No. You jump on that. It's just not likely to happen.
I may have told the story wrong. This is not what happened.
So, yeah. As this drops, jumping on that, there's just no way I would get that timing correct. I can jump down here and hope, but it didn't help. Like, apparently at some point I knocked it and got it swinging, and now it's lost all its momentum. Ah. Yeah. There we go. Okay, jump here, jump on that, land on that platform, and then just hope we can make it to the edge there. And I assume there's no more experience collectibles, and I assume we're going to hit an orb to refill our health and get our main acrobatic character back. I guess I'm supposed to make a platform up here. See if that gets us up here to this section. Here you have another floor square that doesn't really feel like it's indicating much of anything, if it is supposed to indicate anything. So if I can rotate these, which I never even learned in the first game that you could rotate them, which probably caused me to struggle, can I rotate the cubes so that I can get a corner of the cube wedged in between to knock those bottles over? Maybe I could have done that. I didn't really succeed at doing that, however. And instead I just smashed the cube against the wall. I assume this probably drops more cubes. You can also see that there's more XP up in that area. So let's see if there's a break in any of that. Okay. Let's just start here. Okay. I think it probably was already in the spot it should be in, and it really is just a matter of jumping through here and then turning around and jumping the other way. I don't see how I'm going to do that, though. Let's just move it. Something like that, but then I couldn't jump in it. I mean, honestly, do I need anything at all, or is this just yet another spot where maybe a plank would work? see, we can put a cube here. We can lose the plank there. That seems to be about the right place to put it. You put that there, you drop that there. Now what? We come over here, we can't do anything. We jump down here, and it just flings us back this way. If we jump towards the left, we will be pointing towards the left. So it would have to be something like just an immediately switch in direction, which seems to just instantly kill your character. We do have a box here, so obviously a box is at some level going to play a role. Maybe those boxes are swingable, and we had just swung on it, so yeah, that was the solution. We just needed to think with the box, not outside of the box. Okay. Something triggered there, obviously. And so we've got to figure out a way to buy ourselves enough time to stop the enemies from spawning. Which means I definitely have to just get better at swapping things around. Now this one's the one that confuses me, though. Seems to me like you'd want it there to get up here, but there doesn't really seem like there's a reason for it to be up there. Unless the idea was to set the flame so it would have burnt the creatures automatically, but I suspect the creatures are fireproof. Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Seems like we've really crossed the line at that point where they're just adding things to be red herrings instead of adding things potentially to give you a different option, which maybe some of the different options I thought that existed in previous parts actually were just red herrings. And there is a book in the background, but we cannot walk to the background and read it. It's been about an hour, so now would be the time to either throw the dragon back at us or finish the level. I don't think after that encounter in particular. Okay. So this is bad news for me then. Collect all the experience pickups in the Shadowed Halls. If I just got that achievement, that tells me that the Mudwater Dale level and the Treehouse Adventure level Petrified Tree. Both of those, I missed some experience somewhere. Unless Shadowed Halls is just a larger group of levels. So we stand on the square and it
Welcome, strangers.
started the
You
cutscene.
came through all the traps I laid out for the goblins. I am Queen Rosabelle. I was ruler of these lands once.
What do you know about these goblins?
Goblins took over my realm many years ago, after the forest became wild and the kingdom was destroyed.
Lady Queen, do you know anything about a speaking flower?
Or do you know why plants would keep growing wildly?
I can tell you more, but first I require your assistance. Out there is a castle by the sea, the house of my fathers, where now the king of goblins sits, befouling their halls. Slay him and I will reveal all. You can keep any treasure you find in the castle.
It's definitely a
Wasting no
different
time,
art style.
Pontius accepted Rosabelle's offer for dinner. While their hostess retired for the night, the heroes gathered their strength. Soon they left the eerie house. The hour was late, but the quest urged them on.
So yeah, either it's going to be an incredibly simplistic story where Rosabelle here is a good girl and going to send us on a worthy quest, or she's sending us off to do really something evil. I wouldn't be surprised if she, with all her magics, turned her sister into the Goblin King and we're going off to kill her sister. She is dressed in black, which would give an indication that there might be some evilness in her. Weird we didn't fight the dragon. That's a very odd tease. The only thing I could think as to why we would see a dragon and not actually fight a dragon would be that they just didn't have a decent fight mechanic programmed into it and they ran out of time. Unfortunately, it does seem like now more than half of the levels probably do have XP orbs that I've missed, and I just don't know. I really suspect I won't bother to try and get all the XP orbs in the previous levels, which means we won't get all the achievements, which means I really don't care about the achievements. This game is a pretty old one, so it is going by the old style of achievements anyways. It's giving you 3 or 4 for completing each individual level, versus nowadays where there's often fewer achievements, or you have to do something extra or weird or funny to get the achievements instead of just getting one for beating every level. Usually you get, in modern games, like an achievement for beating the game on easy, and then one for beating it on medium and one for beating it on hard, but you don't tend to get one for every single level, particularly in a game like this where there's going to be more obvious breaks in the levels. Many games don't even have specific levels that you could recognize. It's just a free-flowing cinematic experience where there's just a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it all connects very smoothly in most cases. As far as percentage of completion, less than 5% of people collected all the experience pickups in the Shadowed Halls. So yeah, I am definitely in the minority there, and less than 40, or just about 40%, slightly over 40% actually, of players beat that level to get to even see the cutscene of Rosalind. Which, yeah, there obviously is a problem in Trine 2 as far as just its audience not really being there. When you're losing nearly 60%, nearly 2/3 of your players before they've even done the 5th level, before they've even met the female protagonist, or the new Lady Rosalind character, that seems to be weird, and I don't know why you would lose so many people Maybe the puzzles were just way better in Trine 1. I barely remember Trine 1, so if there were amazingly good puzzles in the first game, they didn't stick to my mind. Maybe it's just a case that Trine 2 is too similar to Trine 1 at the beginning. Maybe it's a case that it just didn't start off exciting enough. That's probably a good guess. Like, Trine 2 did not start with a big challenge or a big enemy or a big threat. The vines are supposed to be a threat, certainly, but they don't really feel like a threat. In that first tutorial level, it would have probably made a lot more sense if vines were chasing after you as each character from the left side of the screen as you move to the right side of the screen, and they were just always this looming threat, and they were always devouring everything behind you with more and more vines. And if the entire city and the mage's house and the pumpkin patch that the guard was in, if each one of those locations were just totally entangled in vines, and then the Trine kind of saves them and takes them to another area, then there would be this pressure to say, we've got to find something to beat the vines and save our city, save our house, save our pumpkin patch. But yeah, the main Trine characters here are fairly disconnected from the threat, and they really are only going to the right of the screen because that's just how the video game works, that you move to the right of the screen. At least until the flower talks to you and asks you to find her sister. But yeah, that's like 3 or 4 levels into the game too. Anyways, we've gone another hour. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.